Okay. So welcome to the first figure drawing lesson for your group of the year. You can see, and you've got this in both color and in black and white on your screen. I love figure drawing. Figure drawing is where you really start to learn to draw. And forget the grid, forget your ideas about what you think is right or wrong, right? Figure drawing has a whole method and a system that can be applied to everything else that we do. So as we begin, we're going to start with what I call a 1-minute gesture drawing. So in that case, gesture, the question becomes, what can I draw in a minute? Does anybody know what I can't draw in a minute? What can I not draw in a minute? And what should I not even do?
Details.
What's
Detail
that?
from face.
Face features and
Features. What else?
Hands.
fingers. Yeah.
Fingers, hands, right? Toes. I can't really get boobs, often no. Like, so I can't really get very much into a 1 minute. But there are some things I can get. And that's what we call gestures. Let me show you what that looks like. You can follow along with me as I do this. So the gesture is how the sort of upper and lower parts of the body are kind of dealing with gravity, right? This is kind of going up, which means this is going down. Yeah, that's going, yes, there we go. Right? It's kind of how the major sort of sections of the body are moving up or down against gravity. And they notice they kind of run through the center of different subjects. And they help us kind of get direction and weight, right? The direction of these lines. So it's like a stick figure, actually, but it's not so complex. It's sort of showing the simple movement. I'm going to do this in charcoal just so you can see it. So in a gesture, I would start with these lines. I'm not so worried about proportions in gesture, not right now, particularly not in a 1 minute. I'm not worried about proportions at all. But I am worried about kind of getting, is the hip pointed this way or this way, right? What direction is the head pointed? So that's like the first step in a gesture drawing. And then the second step is, I'll bring my old friend out here, who seems to have lost his foot. Sorry, lost his foot, it's there somewhere, right? The body is really a series of spheres and circles and joints. So for the head, head is important, as you'll see later. So the head, it's kind of just a circle. And the neck is like a cylinder. I mean, here it's a circle, but here you could make it a cylinder. And then the shoulders and the wrists and the elbows have these joints. So it's not like the legs or the arms are one straight line, right? There's a top, there's a bottom, there's roundness in between, okay? The body is like a tin can, maybe with a little vent in, just a little bit, right? And then it's the same, the joints, as you can see here, joints for the hips, the knees, and the ankles. And if I'm following my gesture, I should pretty much be able to get these things going in the right direction too. Notice my feet and my hands are, if I have them at all, are flippers really. Right? And then I might have time to do the shape of the hair. And please don't do this. That drives me fucking crazy. It's not what your hair looks like. It's just a dark shape. That's maybe all I have time for in about a minute. I might not even have time for this much, but that's essentially the gesture. It starts to get us familiar with the pose. So I want you guys to try it and send it in. And then we're going to do 10 more in a timed 1 minute fashion. So try this one, send it over to me. You're going to see, and actually you'll see on the thread, I've sent you some examples of, your gesture doesn't have to look like this. You can see on the thread, I've sent you some more examples of what your, of what this looks like. You can see up here, here's the kind of gesture drawing. Here, this is another way to do gesture. So gesture is not about proportion. It's not about measuring. It's about eyeing how the body is fighting gravity. I'm using charcoal right now because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing clearly, but you can use charcoal if you want to, but it might be a good idea to go back to pencil. Let's go back to basics as we're starting to learn once again, or relearn this new way of thinking about the body. So you notice how a 1 minute forces you into the idea of, let's see. Nice, Ani.
Thank you.
Good, good, good. Arms, so we're going to work on skinny arms, right? And all that stuff, but we're not worried about that in this lesson. So if I were to do this in 1 minute, this is what it would look like. I'm going to do it kind of small. You know, I'm not worried about getting too fancy here. Oh, wait, I'm going to put that. So I started with gesture. Hi.
Isabel?
See how I'm see how I'm very quickly doing this sketch in 1 minute. That's kind of how quickly I'm doing that sketch, right? That's the process that's happening. You're about to do this 10 times. I'm not worried about drawing the umbrella. Some of you have time for that. That will be later. So this really starts to get you clear on what is the essence of simplicity. Okay, Annika, good first attempt. You didn't get your joints up here.
Oh.
Nice. I'm going to see 1 or 2 more. And then, but notice it also has a kind of beauty to it that's sort of neat. It has a movement, right? Gesture is about the movement of what is the head tilted up? Is it this way? Is the body pointed this way? If the leg is heavy on this side, what's happening to the leg on this side? All of these things are interconnected. This beautiful symmetry. Okay, not bad, Rosh. Not bad. How's it feel, everybody? So now we're gonna go, now I'm gonna pull up your favorite website. Hold on, let me find it. Add it here. We're gonna do this 10 times. All right, let's see here. So I'll do along with you, but your job is to try and get, and you're only gonna have, here, I'll remove the spotlight here. Share the screen. You're gonna have 1 minute for each pose. This is my favorite site. It's called Line of Action. I'm a subscriber. You can see you can select here like I'm doing. We want only nude models. There's reasons for that. We want both male and female. We want adults. We want all of these to be the same length, and we want all of them to be 60 seconds. We're going to start every figure drawing class with this thing. So you should have a couple pieces of paper because you're probably going to get a lot of figures going. I'll erase that. When you guys are ready, we'll get started. So you let me know when you're ready. We'll get started. Ready?
Yep.
Are you ready? Okay. Get drawing. Oh, yeah. So just like anything else, I'm looking at how the arms are going. I'm looking at the direction of the torso. I'm looking at the direction of the legs. I'm kind of getting that circle for the head, getting that circle for the shoulders. All of the things. Not worried so much about proportions, but I am trying to get the gesture right. You can really see the upper rib cage in this particular position. Just do the best you can. All right, next one. Fingers need to run into each other, that's okay. Notice that here in the upper torso, her upper torso is going one direction and the lower torso is kind of going the other. And of course, there's the legs. Notice also, you really don't have that much time to think about it.
They saw what we do to their beautiful bodies.
What's that?
If they saw what we do to their beautiful bodies.
Oh, we just don't have time to think about it. I like what I do with their bodies. You guys should too.
Kind of like too.
Oh, yep, didn't even have time to finish that one. Okay. I see I meant to spend too much time talking about it and not enough time just doing it. Notice that your entire idea of what you think is happening will change once you really get into this zone. So for those of you who don't know, this couple that we keep, these people that we keep seeing, the woman that we're drawing today and this guy right here are a married couple who are modeling team. Betsy and David are models. And one of our students looked up there's articles about them, how they do this for a living, how like challenging it is. And of course, what they can do in these poses, they can do a lot more challenging poses because of course you can't hold this pose that he's holding. I mean, maybe you could, but it's pretty brutal. But you know, for a photograph, you can totally do it. That's interesting. So interesting, that one. You're gonna come into these sessions, some days feeling really good about these, some days being like, all okay. This is a warm up. I might look at them just to see what you get out of them, but they're not really for judging, they're for getting you into the zone. Okay, we're on 6.
Yeah, it's the 6th.
Yeah. Now that I've started doing them myself, I'm better keeping track of them. This is a really fantastic resource. It's free, although I recommend that if you use it, you pay for it, which is what I do, because I so appreciate what it gives me, which is this kind of ever rotating set of poses. If I was teaching you in class with real models, this is what it would be like. We'd have the model switch, poses every time, every minute. And so it's so nice to be able to do this online. Eight. This site is used by animators a lot. So there's a whole section on like costumes and clothing and weaponry, because a lot of, like for video games and stuff like that, which of course is where the variety of a lot of the money for artists is coming these days. If you really want to make money as an artist, work for a video gamer. But boy, your drawing skills not only have to be great, but also, all the different computer skills, because a lot of the drawing is animated. I kind of looked into it and then was like, no way. It's probably even worse than working for a news agency. Deadlines are intense and drawing is hard. Bony little thing, isn't she?
A lot of bony models here.
Yeah, that's the only problem with it. But every time I find a new site that gives me curvy models, then they take out the nudes or something like that. It's the site I've been using.
What do you do here? You do the drape as well, no?
I think if you're asking that question, it's just too late.
Well, so you have pieces of a body missing, but never mind.
Okay, you draw what you see. But I mean, I don't think you have even time. You see what I'm saying? You're spending a lot of time thinking about that rather than.
I know it's already done, but the piece is
Yeah,
missing.
draw what you see is the short answer to that question. Well, that's a really hard one. Speaking of, that's very hard.
Yeah, draw what you see. Right.
Draw what you see. The simple answer is always with the 1 minute. Well, it's with everything, it's draw what you see. But asking that question is kind of a, so it's a left brain, the left brain is trying
I
to,
know you can tell us that.
when you're doing that, your left brain is trying to tell you to confuse you, darn left brain. Yeah.
We normally do naked.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. This is the last one. All right. Yeah, that last one was kind of a dud. Let's stop the share. Okay. So let's see how that went for you. I can show you my sheet here. I'll show you my sheet here. So you can see I finished some of them. This one, I really like this one. And that's kind of what happens is you get entranced in the pose and then you don't really finish it. But do you notice how the pose still has, even the unfinished ones still have a little movement, right? You can tell who's standing, who's kneeling, who's punching, who's pushing their, right? Who's laying, who's standing, who's kneeling, who's kneeling, who's kneeling. So it's an interesting, it's an interesting way. I'll send these across. What I want you to do is look and see if there's any one of yours that you like. And if you don't find one that you like, take a picture of a piece of one that you like and send it across. This is generally, let's see, Sandra. Oh yeah, nice, Sandra. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Nice, Diana. Nice, Anik. Yeah, so notice that there is notice that there's not one way to do this. This is a warm up. This is to get you warmed up. All right, and now that we're out of it, yes, what I'll tell you to really fully answer Sandra's question. Annika, you like that one? Yep, neat. Just you'll notice, this is the thing about figure drawing, right? Figure drawing is a long game. There's nothing short about figure drawing. Figure drawing is, no one's ever satisfied with it. No, there's a lot of things you've got to learn about it. So, it's a practice continually. I love gesture drawing. I think it's kind of got a beauty to it that you don't really see in anything else. And to answer Sandra's question, like everything that we draw what we see, right? And we anticipate where things go that are hidden, right? So, but we draw what we see. Nice, Emma. Hi, Emma.
So does that mean you draw the veil or you don't?
You draw what you see.
But you see the veil? Or you only, or you leave parts of a body missing?
You draw what you see.
What did you do? I can't tell which one it was. You
draw
seem to have drawn the veil, right? You drew a veil.
Draw what you see. If you see the veil, you draw the veil. If you see a
Got
leg,
it.
you draw a leg. You draw what you see.
Got it.
Yeah, that's it. And it's that simple, right? So this is true with all of drawing, right? So in this one, we couldn't even see the guy's head. So do we draw the head? No. I mean, you can see a little tiny piece of the head, but really it was mostly shoulder.
No, I didn't mean to draw things we can't see. I meant.
Don't draw what you can't see. It is as simple as that. And if you can get that, understanding deeply into your practice, then you're going to be able to draw anything. Because
I didn't mean we draw what we don't see. I meant you either left it blank where there was a veil or you drew the veil.
If you have time, draw the veil.
Okay.
But it's a 1 minute pose.
Yeah.
So this is an exercise. You might only get a line. You might only get right? This is an exercise. And how much can I essentialize and simplify? And how few lines can I convey what needs to be conveyed? So in this one, I didn't even get to the bottom of his legs, right? But you can still see the essence of leg. Here, I got like 2 lines in, I think, to get the veil. You draw what you can see, but you're going to need to simplify. And to think about it, I guess my point is, in the middle of it, to think about it is to stop you. It'll just stop you cold. So do as much as you can. But of course, these are just 1 minute. Now, when we get to like the longer poses, I am going to want you to draw. And I'm trying to decide if I should switch over to, I'm going to see if I can switch over to pencil. And I would suggest you guys use whatever you want to use as a draw, whichever your preferred method of drawing is. But if, you know, the pencil works real well here. Let's see. I want to see how well you see my pencil marks.
Leah, now I know why we have such poor attendance today. Money Heist released, season 5 released today.
What?
Even I didn't, I forgot. Money Heist season 5.
What is
Money
it?
Heist. Money Heist, the famous Spanish show.
I don't know that one. What is it?
It's the most famous show at the moment.
Yeah.
It released. The last season came on Netflix today.
Nice. I get you. I like this. By the way, Rashmi, I like the one where you have just the little bit of the guy leaning out like this. You guys, you did great. And Annika, not bad for a first timer. You did great. These are good. These are good. Emma, nice. Nice. Sandra, by the way, great. I love your specifications. They are fantastic.
So it's good I haven't forgotten you.
Yeah, it's all there, right? Like, it's like, you know, learning to draw and paint is like riding a bike. It's all there. It's a universal skill. It's like, you don't forget to read, right? You don't forget how to draw, but sometimes you get rusty and you need to like read, but it is amazing that it's there. Not only that it's there, but all the other things that you're doing have supported it to come, you know what I mean, together in that way. It's really fascinating. It's kind of a magical process. As I was telling Annika and Ani and Rashmi before I came on, when they were looking at their drawings from last year, and I said, I bet you have this feeling of how did that happen? How did I do that? Right? And later, and I can't even understand how I did that. And I was saying, once you've got in as many hours as I have, you will start to know how you got it, because the system of structuring will become so ingrained. But that feeling of like looking at it and going, wow, you're still putting those pieces together in your brains. You're learning how this process applies across the board, which is really, really fun. So you guys will see. Okay, so what happens if you have more than 1 minute? That becomes, now we get to the tougher part. And that sort of, if you want to look at your proportions of the human figure, this sheet will kind of help you understand that essentially we use the head to determine the size of everything else. Right? So when you've got more time, what I like to do is, let's see if I can, this is a little hard to see. Another color that's more. Mark this with red to really see it. No, that's not going to work. So you can see that the first thing I like to do is find the vertical distance. And I do that by going from the top of the head to the chin, whatever you can see it. And then notice I'm going to take this same space and bring it down. Now I know exactly what you're going to say. I don't have that piece of paper in front of me. How do I do that? I'm about to show you. But I want to visually mark this so you can see it. 1, 3, oops, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So including the head, this is 8 heads down, right? Now, how do you do that if you don't have this paper like I do in front of you? And here, I'll send this over so you can see it. It'll be helpful to you later. How do we do that? Anybody remember?
You measure the heads with your fingers.
Yeah, you measure, you're gonna do this. Here, hold on, I'm gonna send this across, so you've got it.
Or with pencil.
I have this up here. Here, I'm gonna add my spotlight so you can see what I'm doing. Here on the side. I don't know if you can see here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but I'm holding my pencil up to, and here you can see it in 2 ways. So I'm holding my arm straight and I'm holding my pencil up, and the top of my pencil is at the top of her head, and my thumb is at her chin. And then I'm going down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you see that? And I'm holding my arm straight. I can't go back and forth like this. That won't work. I got to hold my arm straight. So you're going to hold your arm up to the computer screen and you're going to check heights. So that's one thing to say. It's another thing to do, right? So let's practice it a little bit on Pixel, on live action. So I'm going to bring us back there. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna let me remove my spotlight. And if you have a question, you guys know, of course, you should always ask me. So don't hesitate to do that. But let's try.
What if we had a live model in front of us?
It's the same.
Then
it's the same thing. You're still just standing in. It's exactly the same as looking at a computer screen, right? It's the same thing. You're holding your arm up. That's exactly what you're doing. And you're just standing in one place, right?
Okay.
That's what you're doing. So if you've seen people doing this thing, right, where they're holding out there, that's what you're doing. They're measuring. And you have to keep your arms straight. So I'm showing you exactly what, so it works flat. That's why this is such a great thing. I don't like this particular pose. We're going to get rid of it because it's hard to see. Let's try one. That's just weird. Okay, let's try this one. No, let's not do that one because you can't really see your head very much. All right, here's a good one. Kitty. I like these people because, whoops. Okay, go forward. Stop. All right. Why don't you measure how many heads down she is? Tell me. Including the head. How many heads down is this? Is that model?
5.5.
Yeah. 5.5. Yeah. Anybody else get anything different?
Nope.
Okay, great. Let's try another one. Or let's say 3 cats. Size. Well, that's a tricky one. We're not going to do that yet. I'm not going to do that to you. Interesting. There we go. It's hard to see his head. Getting all these. Okay, here's an interesting one. Let's try that one. Wait. How many heads down is she?
3.5, I think.
Yeah, 3.5. Really good, you guys. See, it's all there. Can you, here, hold on. If I move this, can you see it? Can you do this one? 2. Yeah, like 5.5, 6.
6.
5.5, 6. 6-ish. Is anybody getting a different result? Speak now. Is anyone having trouble understanding this?
I'm getting different results. It's always a bit more when I do it, but maybe my fingers are just kind of thick.
And hold your arm straight. You got to hold your arm straight. Yeah, drawing's a physical thing.
Yeah, use a pen or the top of your brush and
Yeah, you can use your
mark it
fingers,
up.
but I like to use my pencil as well. So yeah, let me just stop the share for a second to make
Yeah,
it
that
easier.
makes much easier. I can never use my fingers.
Yeah,
Just
I
hold it
use
up
my
like
fingers.
that.
I use my fingers a lot, but yeah, what Diana says is like, you do this.
Yeah, and I have the top of a,
Look, I can actually measure myself. I'm 2 heads.
so.
1, 2. But the key is you have to keep your arms straight. If you do this while you're doing, if you do this and then you kind of pull it in, then you've mucked up the measurement. Your hand has to be straight up and it has to be in the same place every time. And you need to be standing in the same position every time, right? Which is tricky when you're working with a model for like 3 hours. You have to make sure, oh, wait, am I standing in the same, right? Like, am I standing in the same place? Have I moved? Have they moved? You know, it's a very sort of technical thing. That's why working with pictures is easier, because we at least know they're in the same place and they haven't moved. So, does anybody want to practice that anymore? Do you want 1 or 2 more just to practice? Or are you feeling pretty good? Feeling like you're ready to start drawing this sky? Okay, let's do it. We'll move the spotlight. Let's get up here. This lady, I should say. All right, so once you've determined the number of heads, you come over here and you sketch in the head. And you can sketch in the head. You can sketch in the head any size you want. So I'm not trying to recreate this at this size. That's not my goal here. But I am determining the top and the bottom of my head. Just see how I just kind of randomly did that. And then I can come here and go down and mark 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. So I'm making mine bigger, right? And I'm deciding what the size of my head is going to be. Now I have the vertical distance. I know she goes no higher than this, lower than this, and no higher than that. Amazing, right? It's the amazing idea of measuring. It's incredible. It's really incredible. Now I'm going to show you something else, which I wasn't as I don't think I was as clear on in the process this last time, but I figured it out. The last time I taught you guys, but I really figured it out when I was working with the Wednesday group. And that is also super helpful to have what's called kind of a plumb line, which is if I were to draw a straight line from, say, the chin down to the bottom. Maybe I should do that in a different color so you can see it. Let's do that in blue too. Right, so let me do this again in blue. So if I were to draw a line straight down, right, from the chin to here, what's on this side of the line and what's on that side of the line? And what is lined up directly under the chin?
You know, Leah, the way you have your camera set up is like an angle, so it doesn't really show bigger. It should be straight on. Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can. It kind of drifts, but I'm doing what I can. You're getting pictures of it too. So I'm just doing, yeah, I'm trying. It's that
Yeah.
it drifts and folds. So we're doing the best. So the other thing I can do as let me know if it gets really extreme, Diana.
Yeah. It just gives the wrong idea.
It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, the limits of my setup. All right, so here is let's put it straight. That line. And it helps us kind of see where things are. So one of the things I can see is that the head is actually going this way, right? away from the line. But if I were to draw a straight line down like this, which you can on your paper, right? The chin is here, and then part of the body is on this side, the other part of the body is on this side. I picked the chin because that's usually the quote unquote the halfway point of the face and the body, right? Just depending on where you are. So I can sketch that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is get in my gesture lines, but kind of use my heads to match where, and this line to match where this gesture is. So now I can, so here's my gesture for the head. Notice the neck is underneath and here. Then here's the shoulder, whoops. Shoulder line is kind of halfway between the first and the second head, maybe a little bit higher, right? Down, the elbow comes down just below the second head. Here's the third head, fourth head. Yep. Easy to get lost here. 1, 2, 3. Arm comes here and hands too. Okay. Shoulder on this side comes down. I'm looking at kind of where my elbow matches, which is just above, so I can come to here, and it comes just at this head, and then it goes out. So now I kind of have my gesture in here, but it's a little bit more, this gesture is like, here, hold on. Really mark these so you can see them. So as I come down here, I can see that the body, the torso, down to 1, 2, 3, kind of comes down to here. Bends like this a little bit. And then below that is the crotch, right? And then leg starts just a little bit above here, down to here where the knee goes, and then kind of shades more, and then kind of goes straight. Notice the foot, the foot in this position. Yeah, the feet are almost one whole head. But no, that's not it. Give me 1 second, you guys. I need my better eraser. So I, of course, am making these marks for you, right? So you can see them on the paper. I'm making these marks for you. So you can see them on the paper and it's easier. Notice that this leg kind of comes right through the middle. The gesture of this leg kind of comes right through the middle, but that everything else kind of stays on this side. How would you do this if you didn't, how would you do this, as Rashmi asked, if you didn't have the model? How would you do the plumb line? So once again, I'm going to add my screen here and I'm going to show you. So once again, if I'm working with a real model, right, and you too, right, because you're working on the screen, I am going to, and here I'm going to even stand so I can, right? I'm going to hold my arm out like this, and I'm going to see what goes down, what's directly underneath the chin of the model. So that's how I find the plumb line. Holding my arm straight, holding my arm straight. It's tricky because I'm working around a piece, right? But I'm holding my arm straight and I'm checking what I'm looking, what's directly under the chin, and then I'm sketching that. So this is easier for you guys because it's written down and you can see it. But when you're translating this to when I'm looking at something or anything, that's what you're doing. You're holding your pencil straight and you're looking at what's going down, what's directly underneath the chin. Which is essentially what you're all having to do anyway. So let me take a picture of this and let's see you get there. Get to this point. And by the way, these are fantastic. Whoops, sorry. These are great questions. So you can see it doesn't really matter. I get everything in here. Yeah. It doesn't really matter how big or small I make this. It doesn't matter what my grid size is. It doesn't matter what my paper size is. I could make this double the size of this, but the proportions of head to everything else are still the same. We're going to talk about how to draw the head in a minute, but and how much you're going to draw. But let's see you get to this point. How's it feeling, people who are repeating?
Good.
Awesome. All right, while you're doing this, I'm going to go check on my little man. I had just tossed him some kale, which makes him happier than anything outside. So he was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking for my charcoal paper and I just found this.
Let's see, where are you? I just saw you a second ago. Here, hold on, stay there, hold up. Oh, hold on, my baby. Here, wait a minute, you guys have to see this. Hold on, I'm gonna replace.
It's not very good, but it's at the time we're doing charcoal. It was very good.
My little terror. Oh, I don't know, I think it gets it. All right, sorry, here, let me get this back up. That's freaking awesome. Now let me go check on my little terror. Here we are. Here's this little terror for you. He has a little shaft of sunlight coming into a certain part of the catio. So he's sitting there and soaking up the sun. It's really cute.
That's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Muka go on the catio?
No, she doesn't. That's
Because
his,
it doesn't want to,
yeah,
or because he thinks it belongs to him?
I think she's been curious. She has climbed up into it and over it, but she can go outside. So like,
Oh, I see. That's very different. But she doesn't need it.
yeah. Yeah, so she
She gets her real thing.
yes. All right, let's see how it's going, Monica. Okay, so 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. Monica, that looks pretty good. We're going to be using the head to help us measure width and stuff. But that looks pretty good. Pretty good, Rookie. You're going to probably want to bring your arm out a little further, but we'll deal with that. That's later. That's looking pretty good. Nice work. Good job, Rookie. I'm proud of you guys. Boy, this requires so much work. By the way, I'd like us to get into figure drawing long enough to maybe try some painting as well. Like to add painting to it if we have time. We'll see. You know, to try like maybe starting with a pencil sketch and then adding some color using whatever medium you want. So we will, let's see, Emma.
Actually, Leah, I was going to do an experiment today. I'm going to do an animal with
Gesture?
charcoal and watercolor.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd love, that's exactly it. Those are the kinds of things I'm wanting to see. Great. Let's see, one.
Charcoal and watercolor?
I know it's a bit unusual, and normally I would need a fixative, but I'm going to do it without a fixative. But I'm going to do an animal that can take a bit of grisaille to it, if you see what I mean.
Okay.
Yep, not bad. I think this is going to be good work. Good, Emma. That looks pretty good. Claudia. Claudia, your crotch is too high. I can already tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. 4. Well, maybe not. 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope. It's all good. Everything looks good. Good job, you guys. Good. Good. Do you see how having this plumb line and the heads marked helps? So if you're doing it, checking it, right, you're just continually going up and checking. Like you're checking how many heads down is this? Where is this? Is it in the right place? Right? Like if you're working up, and you can have that experience of working off the screen, of working with a real person by working off the screen and not printing this out. So all you're doing is, I mean, you can see the marks, but still you can kind of check as you're going through and doing your thing. Maybe one day we'll all be able to do class together in the same room, or at least meet and have a drink.
That's the thing.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Or both, and see at the end what's left after the
Right?
drink.
That's, we're both right. One of those, would it be
On
great?
paper, I mean, on paper.
Share one of those big, like giant, like, you know, drinks with like a bowl, in a bowl with like pineapple and tequila and all like boozy.
And painting. Feel like, you know, like those artists experimenting in 20s and 30s.
Right.
That was after tequila. That was after tequila with pineapple.
Yeah.
See the difference.
And I just put down, what did I do with my green pencil that had an eraser? All right, getting it up. Okay. So the next step here, and notice a couple of things I want to sort of point out as we're going through this. There are ways that, like, because of the way like our bone structure is, that if you do one thing with the body, and sorry, I didn't actually really get this in here. Let me get that in there, that tilt. I didn't get it. So notice if the shoulder blades are going kind of one direction, sort of from down to up, the hip joints will go the opposite direction. It's as if we were drawing a vanishing point almost. So these are rarely parallel. Usually one is kind of hoisted up a little bit, the other is hoisted, and that causes the other one to hoist down just because of the way. So this is like the pelvic bones, right? Here's the spine. From here to here is kind of not very much bone except for the spine coming through. So this is kind of muscle and fat, but you've got this kind of cage here of the pelvic bones, and you've got this cage of the shoulders and the shoulder blades. So this will usually, this going up causes this to go down. So if you see this going down, right, between from this pelvic bone to that bone, that's usually, anyway, that just helps you sort of see motion. All right. Okay, so now that we're here, let's talk a little bit. I want to talk just briefly about the head. We're not going to get into any, you're not going to do any, please, nobody put features on the head today. I know you all want to. I know that's what, you want to look at her pretty face with her lovely smile and you want to get that in. Please don't. It'll wreck what is otherwise a pretty great drawing. We'll get to portrait drawing. We will. So when a head is kind of turned to the side like this, the structure of the skull beneath really looks like this. I'm going to take a short, oops, here. And then the neck comes in here. And then we've got this shape of the hair like that. So I'm going to take a, whoops, dang it. I just lost my, and so I'm going to take a picture of this. So I'm going to take a picture of the head so you can really see the structure. So I'm going to start with kind of this shape. That. Start like this. And then I'm going to draw, this is kind of, so this is kind of up here through the bridge of the nose. And then this is the jawline, the bottom part of the skull, the chin. And then notice what happens. The jaw comes up here. So the skull comes out beyond the jaw. The ear sits right here at that intersection. The neck comes up here to this point. Neck comes up there. And if I really want to get technical, I can draw in the shape of the hair. I'm not even really have time for that yet because I don't have my shoulders. I can see that I'm going to need to move this up a little bit, my gesture, right? In my neck. A couple of things. The neck is going to be thicker than you think it is. The reason is that the hair hides the back of our head, so we don't see this jut out over of the skull, but that is what's happening. Notice that the neck is on this side of the line, the left. And then the shoulders, like really the shoulders kind of come at about the halfway point between the second head here. So the shoulders come out like this. And notice something very distinct. We see very little shoulder on this side. We see a lot more shoulder on this side. That's because she's turned. So if we go back to this head very quickly, I'm going to show you your head measurement again, the sheet again. You will notice, where are you, dude? So many good gesture drawings. So if we go back to this and you can see, can you see up? Don't know. Ah, sorry. Too many things in my hand. It's hard to focus, concentrate. You go back up to your head measurement, and you see that not only do we use the head to measure how long things are, but we also use the head to measure how wide things are. See how you see those heads on the side? And we can use them to measure like kind of how long forearms and dark arms. So the next thing we're going to do is check this and see from the plumb line, how far out does it go on this side and how far out does it go on this side? You'll see that it comes just a that really, if I put this head on the side like that, That's how wide out my shoulder goes. But on this side, the shoulder only comes to about the half of a head. It's really only to here. So my shoulder is here and it's here. And then I'm going to do a little circle to indicate my joints. There. By the way, if you want to add this like little back, once you get the shoulder line in, if you want to add that back part of the hair, you can. There we are. And then once again, I'm going to use my head to see, yeah, indeed, it's pretty much one head for the back arm and one head for the forearm, and about half a head for the hand. So I'm going to go this way. Here's where my elbow is. Here's where my arm is, the forearm is. And then out here to the wrist. Make that a little thinner. Is a second head. Don't make her too thin. And specifically, we'll get here in a second as we start to get this shape in. And then I've got like about half a hand. I'm not getting into too much detail here, but I'm trying to get into kind of the outer shape. Right, there's the hand. Hands and feet are always way bigger than you think they are, particularly if they're coming towards you. And I have another, by the way, copy of this once we get to a point where these lines start to get in our way. Another thing I can do is see that like 1, 2. So the top of the breast comes kind of, it comes here just at below the second head, where the second head lines up, and it comes a bit to the left. And then if I measure from here, look at that. It's about a head from the plumb line to the edge. So I can also come here and use that head. So see, the head becomes the center, the establishment of measurement. Now, if I go straight across at head 2, that's what I hit. So here is where the base of the arm is. Now I can get in that line. So you see, the arm is going to be thicker, particularly from where the armpit hits, where the shoulder to the armpit is. You'll see it's almost 3/4 of a head length from here to here. It lines up with here. And then over here, honestly, if I wanted to, yep, this top of the torso where the rib cage ends, you can see where the rib cage ends. I'll show you in a second. That's also one head. And then it should be just below head 3. Right?
Leah,
Yeah.
can I just say I'm really struggling?
We're just,
I'm really struggling with the contrast between the 1-minute drawing, you know, which we do so fast,
right.
and then this painstaking, like, I find it really difficult to switch from one to the other.
That's the rub, baby.
I mean, I am by nature an incredibly impatient person, but I'm finding this really, I don't know if it's just today, I'm finding it really
I
hard.
would guess it's just today for you. this is also, I'm really walking you through measuring in a way I never have before. Because what I notice is you guys make a lot of mistakes in the construction. So I'm walking you through the construction. Now you can just watch me and then try it later. If you're not feeling it, but yeah, I'm really showing you how measurement works in action. So I just say, try to follow along. Don't try to do it with me. Spend a couple minutes just watching and then try it yourself. And in fact, at this point, I'll stop. But yeah, it is this is how you draw. I'm not hiding any of the process. Let's put it this way. I'm not hiding any of the process anymore. I'm not giving you guys, I'm really showing you step by step how this stuff gets measured. And what I can tell you is I can do this very quickly. So once you get it in your head, it's going to feel a lot easier. But I get it. I'm glad. It's good that you said it. I'm sure everybody else is feeling the same way. So it's good to say that. But yeah, the 1 minute and the 1 minute is a different process. You don't have to measure anything. Right, you're trying to sketch motion, which is a different thing than trying to get proportions. Wait, let me stop here. I may have been going a little too fast and racing ahead too fast. Let me see you guys get to this point.
So Leah, I sent you my doggy. I'm not done with the doggy, but I wanted you to look at my background.
And
When you have time.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Now that's starting to look like. Yep. I don't even have to look at the source to know that now things are all in the right places. Good job. It looks great.
What do you think about the background?
I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry, Emma. I might have also been going too fast. I will acknowledge that. You guys try to get to here, and send a couple of you can send them over, and then I'll move on. Let's see. Ani.
Kind of struggling with the position of the legs. I think I figured it out, but
Use the
I-
negative space.
yeah, exactly. I'm looking mostly at negative space and shadow.
Right. I think it's
And
pretty good. The knees are. So
they are
I
not.
think to bring the leg in a little bit on this
Yep.
side, on this side, and
And
then
the other, the hair left
yep.
on our side. This one is more tricky, I think.
Yeah, and remember, you made your arm too skinny here. It really comes down to lining up with
Yep.
the top of, yeah.
Mhm.
Also, I think your breasts aren't in the right place. No, your breasts are in the right place because this should be, well, this needs to come up a little bit.
A little, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard because I can't see your plumb line, so I'm just having to imagine where it is. Yeah, good though.
Thank you. I'm back to my struggling.
It's back to the struggle. Excellent. Let's see. So iPad, this is a little bit, let's see, hold on, I'm looking here. Nope, and actually everything looks one. Yep. Looking in pretty good shape. I feel like the neck is a little bit slanting too much. So if you can make it a little bit more straight, it's not straight, but it's not quite so sloping. I also want you guys to notice something about the neck, which is that it really, in this particular case, it rises up above her shoulders, but it kind of comes down, the neck does, into the blades here. It comes down. That's how the neck works. So very often, there's like the neck muscles here, and then there's this kind of bit of shoulder blade and deltoid here. Very nice. Good job. Does anybody want me to keep going, or do you want me to wait a little bit while you catch up? It's up to you.
1 second, I'm sending you my picture.
Okay, great. I shouldn't rush. I'm sorry. I know I should rush. I'm rushing. I'm at about this point.
I just sent it to you, Leah.
Let's
So I made it a little smaller than the original, but it is 8 heads.
I know that. I know it's that's not the issue for me at all. I'm just looking. In general, that looks pretty good, Rashmi. There's going to be some corrections you'll need to make, but little ones. So in general, you're in good shape. I'm just going to show you guys one more piece. And for those of you who feel like you can go ahead, go for it. But so I want to show you that if you can kind of see right here, there's an angle where the bottom of the rib cage, the bone structure here, meets muscle and fat, right? So that's usually where there's a shift in direction. Like that. And then as I go down, the crotch is kind of here. This part of the leg is mostly straight. And then you've got this almost squared boxy part where the knee is. Can you see that? Where like kind of the knee, it comes in, goes in, it comes out, and then when we review anatomy, which we aren't going to do today because I don't want to make your heads explode, we'll talk about what's happening in sort of the bottom part of the leg. So notice my leg is still pretty flipper-like. I did that right. She's a little bit long-waisted. Her legs are kind of shorter. Let's see, I want to double check this. Because here, this would make this her leg a little bit longer. It's interesting how much of her body is on the left side, isn't it? More than you think it should be. And then I'm really working more this shape, the negative space in between, than I am the leg right now. I'm trying to recreate that shape. It's a little tricky. Let's see. What's interesting about the figure is kind of where things are wide and where things are narrow. Always surprising. Where you think it should be curved, it's sharp and straight. Where you think it should be big, it's small. Where you think it should be small, it's big, blah, blah, blah. All of that. Notice I'm not really dealing with her hand right now on this side. And notice that when I get to here, the leg comes onto the other side. Pretty good. I might have to lengthen it just a little bit. Yeah, that curve. Once again, I'm kind of looking at the negative space. Notice I haven't got the breast in yet. It's almost, I'm using the breast to kind of help me determine where things are, but I'm not actually sketching them in yet. They get, that really, breast can kind of mess things up if you don't know where they are. And notice how on this side, how much farther down the armpit is. Not getting into those fingers. See, now I might try a little bit of breast. That's in pretty good shape. Notice that the breast kind of protrudes beyond the waist on the right. Ah, there we go. It's kind of nice. I really have a love for this model. I feel like this couple really, but particularly her, I just love her face. And I think she's got a fantastic figure for drawing. It's a good figure, but you know, it's got little middle-aged things happening, which I like. All right. Okay, let's. The first thing. So Emma, the first thing I'm seeing is that your torso is too narrow. So look here, it's like 1.5 heads. One head on this side. So it's one head on the side, on this side, and a half a head on the other side. Your arm is comes up too high. Right? The arm
Yes.
lined up with head
Sorry.
too. Right? Which means this is jutting out too much. This leg is too thin. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3. Your crotch is way too low, way too high. 1, 2, 3, 4. The crotch comes below head 4. Well, maybe it's okay. Hold on, let me check it again. 1, 2, 3. Nope. Your crotch is way too high. That's the main problem you're having. It's below, it's a little bit below head 4. You have it at head 4. This part of the arm, from where the arm meets the armpit is always way wider than you think it is. Yeah, she's very long torsoed, which makes her look a little bit short-legged, which is actually not probably really what's going on, but those of you who have gotten her to the place, you can start adding in lights and darks as you see them. But the rest of you might just be working on outer shapes. And if you want a picture, and I've got like in here, I've got a picture of her. I can also put her here. I don't know if you want to see my drawing or this. Let me know if you want to see a clean drawing so you can look at more. I think it helps to see the measurements right now, but when you're done with that, let me know and I can put up something cleaner. Excuse me. So Annika, I think these are not in the right, I think you don't have your hips wide enough. I'm gonna look here. Yep, it's absolutely from head 4 out to here, one head on the side. If you measure, you'll see you're about 2/3 of a head on the left side here. So you're constantly using your head. Do you see why we go back to the head? We can determine the size of the head and then we use it because we know this is correct. And then we use it to measure everything. A lot of things, not everything, but a lot of things. Yeah, she's looking a little bit like a polio victim on the bottom there. Annika, sort of withered and like legs useless, right? They're all kind of getting skinny. Get things the width that they're supposed to be. And if you're wondering at any point, I can check and see using the head to see how wide things go. Really, this leg comes all the way out there. The width of this leg from here to here is almost one width. I don't even have that. Yeah, I do. Good job, you guys. You're doing great. Doing great. Doing great.
Like so.
All right. Rashmi, can you take a picture of this straight on? So I can.
Sure. Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, it looks good though.
It does.
Yeah.
Good job, you guys. You haven't lost anything. You're just gaining right now. Oops, sorry.
Send it, Lee.
Let's see. Let's see. Here it is. So can you notice that it's narrower? The hip here should be like one head on its side this way and one half on this side of the line.
Okay.
This should be about this waist should be one head on this side and like a third of a head on this side.
Oh, okay.
Here should be one head, by the breast should be one head on this side and a half a head on this side. So really it's like 1.5 heads, which will help you get everything else in the right places.
So will I have to like, erase the whole thing?
No, you're
Or-
gonna expand this out, right?
Okay.
You're erasing this line because it's not in the right place. It's in here. So you're
Yeah.
here. This needs to come farther out. This figure needs to be wider.
Yeah.
No, you're not erasing the whole thing. You're
Just as well you asked.
yeah.
That's scared.
It's hard to like, I totally get it because it's really hard to go in. Okay, Emma, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Emma, one of the things that's happening. Here, I'm going to run my pencil through this. I just want to see. Hold on. So, getting better. 1, 2, 3, 4. You still have the crotch too high. The crotch is at 1, watch this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down a little bit, 4. So you have, if you measure your head, you're gonna see you have the crotch right at 4. So the crotch needs to come down, which is gonna help you with the shape of your legs, which right now look kind of too long and lanky, right, for what's happening there. She's a little bit long-waisted. So to be clear, erase this here. Erase this line here and bring it down here a little bit. And then that's going to help you reshape everything else. Also, this arm needs to come in a little bit more. And if Rash, I was going to tell you what to erase, let me see. It would be this line.
Yeah.
Comes out. I think this line's actually in the right place.
Yes, I just measured with a scale because
In the right place.
I kept like 3 centimeters for every head.
Yeah. That's a great way to do it.
Something like that. It's easier to do that much.
Yep. And then the other thing is, don't forget to thicken your arm here. So here, hold on, let me see if I can blow this up so you can see it. This line should come in here more.
Yeah.
Your breath, 1, 2, breasts are in. Breasts are pretty good actually. Once you thicken this, it'll feel better. Good job, you guys. Good jobs. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. Let's see. 1, 4, good. Crotch in the right place. Basically, Claudia, that looks pretty good. I think the arm here needs to kind of extend out. It needs to come a little bit this way, angled up a little bit. It's a little bit thicker here, then you've got it. But
Yeah, I see what you mean.
how does it feel? Not bad.
It's so intense though. It's so much work.
Oh, the thing is that the whole leg from the knee down needs to go on the left side of the chin. So right now, if I run my pencil straight down, you can see that below the knee, the leg comes out too far to the right.
Mm-hmm.
If I run my pencil straight down here, at this point, the leg needs to come on this side of the line.
Okay.
You'll see, it's like, And then, and you can really get this by looking at this. I struggle with this too a little bit. I have these too far apart at here. So look at the narrowness of the space in here.
Mm. Okay.
Mhm. Not bad, Annika. Let's see. I like to see where your lines were and where they are now. Let's see. So your feet need to be bigger. If you'll look here, you'll see the foot is almost the size of the head. You'll see your feet are teeny tiny, but they're actually quite big. They're up to about this size. Other than that, pretty good. And then of course, so once you guys get to that point, you can start adding in the darks as you see them. We'll talk more about shadows next week. But, right, you can start adding in. This will help in the shaping. You know, I'm starting to get my darks in. So nice dark under this arm. Dark at the hair. Here's the hairline, kind of comes up like a square, like this. Dark under here. If you want to, once you get that kind of stuff in, add in the umbrella. Notice it's kind of dark under the breast. This is good, you guys. Ani, there you go. You got it. You got it. You got it.
Thank you. Although that's the worst leg of my life.
It's really hard. So anybody who's having trouble with this, no, it's just tough. Just do the best you can. We'll get better at legs as I start introducing the idea of, hold on. Just 2, 3, yep, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good job. You'll get better at legs as we start to look at the internal structure of the leg, the bones of the muscles, but I'm not going to do that to you for this time. I think we're spending enough time just trying to like measure. Don't worry about that. I think you guys are doing great. How does it feel? Sandra, I'd love to see what your experiment is looking like.
It doesn't look great. And part of the problem I'm having is that I used soft press in order to have smooth of a charcoal.
Right.
But it means I can't do really wet on wet.
Right. Well,
So it looks like this for now.
Can you take a picture of a part that you like? How's that?
I don't know, I don't like any part of it for now. Just give me a bit more time.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to do it again one more time, just for a minute. I just want to see it up. Don't like, oh, all right, all right, all right. Anyway, better than I thought. Right, but I get it.
But this is one I did without charcoal. Look, it is much better.
It's more like a materials issue, isn't it? As much as it is.
Well, I'm experimenting, yes, for the first time. So, but this is a problem. I thought soft press would be perfect for charcoal, but it's not so good for wet on wet.
So if you're doing wet on wet, then I think you're right. The bumpier, the cold press will be better just for the texture.
Yeah.
But I understand why you would try it. I understand why you would try it.
Yeah, I still, I mean, some people manage to do wet on wet on soft press, but I haven't managed to do it well yet.
However,
I like that you're experimenting.
Yes, exactly. Worth trying.
it
Yeah.
tells you, and I feel like it's giving you a really tight, clear understanding of how the medium helps create I think what I really like about this exploration of yours, Sandra, is that you're really learning deeply, and I mean super deeply, how the materials help create texture. And that is huge, because then you don't have to be so worried about creating all the texture yourself, right? If the
Right.
material is going to do part of the work for you, that is a massive leap in understanding and thinking, I don't have to control this, right? I just kind of have to know my material to know like what's happening.
What works. And I have a lot of experiment to do still, but I'm not giving up on the mix of charcoal and watercolor.
Leave it.
I absolutely love it. I actually find it so exciting. I find your guys' progress very exciting. I love that Annika is doing great and she's never done this before. I love that Anik and Claudia and Rashmi and Emma are killing it. I know it might be feeling a little bit for you like a brain, it might be busting your brain, but you're showing in your drawings way more understanding of the figure than you did the first time I introduced this to you. So it's all still there, even if it's like rusty and feels like hard to focus on. It's more there than you think it is, which is like really fascinating. There you go. Now that's looking right. Yeah, there we go. So Emma, I'd say just a couple of things here. I like this. The little bit narrow, which is probably why that's feeling kind of funny. And the leg needs to be thinned a little bit. You've got this, I know that she's got this little bump happening here, but you've got it a little bit too extreme. So I would reshape this and make it a little bit straighter. I would reshape this bottom leg and make things a little bit shaped in here. So you can see she's got like cankles here, right? Because you went in like that. There's a thinness before we get to on this bottom part. Show you. So work that area, but very nice. Still. Yeah. Still. Yeah. No cankles for this poor, beautiful lady. She doesn't have cankles. Now I see what you mean, Sandra. We're totally giving the model cankles when she does not have cankles.
What's a cankle? Sorry, is this an American word?
Yeah, it's when I have them. Here, let's see if I can show you. It's like when it doesn't get thin here. It just goes straight into the ankle. So it looks like there's no tapering off. You've never heard that term, cankle? It's quite fun. Cankles are like, basically there's no tapering. Because what's really interesting that's happening here, we've never really even talked about it. I did do a class on hands. It's in the video screen if you want to. Is there's like about 200 million bones happening all right here. There's a lot of little tiny bones going in different directions. So there's lots of little shifts happening that make it hard for us to capture. No, now she's too wide.
Mm-hmm.
Sketching the umbrella. Get in some of the obvious lights and darks. We'll talk about lights and darks more fully in the next class, along with everything else. And I think you guys are going to find this time that this, Rashmi was really right to push us back to figure drawing, because you will see in this go round that it's going to link in. So the same way Sandra is having this experience right now of learning about what her materials do, this is going to link into all drawing that you do. And it's going to help you kind of see things proportionally and related to each other rather than as what they are. You know what I mean? Like arm, hand, leg. It's more like shapes next to each other. I really do love figure drawing. It is really great for that. Okay, oh my God, it's actually time to stop. I'm gonna give you guys 5 more minutes and then go ahead and just send wherever you're at.
Do you think for the last 5 minutes you could just put the picture without the lines?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Great idea. Let me just get some type. Sorry, I'm moving a little slow this morning. Here we are. There she is. Great idea.
Also, maybe next time we can do it upside down, because I was like that.
Oh, do you want to do that now?
No, I think it's a bit late now. But,
the reason I tend to avoid upside down with the figures is that I'm pushing you a little bit closer to working with a real model, in which case, of course, you can't turn
You
them
couldn't ask her, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it'd be an entirely different pose. But why don't we just do it quickly? Just do it quickly. Do it.
Please hang from the ceiling.
Here. Do it like that. So put your drawing upside down and see how well you think you got shapes. See what you can see that might help you get shape right. Also, what's kind of interesting to see here is there's a light. No, again, tangles. Poor Betsy. So I'm doing a little bit of editing. Notice how her hip almost really disappears on the right side here. Actually, this helps quite a lot. Wow. A little bit. Yeah, I realized that the grid is a good for sort of beginners, right? A beginner's thing to teach you where things really are as opposed to where you think they are. But it becomes really what we have to learn is how to be kind of evaluative and measure, which is tedious, but man, boy, once you get used to it, you'll be like, how could you do it any other way? Actually, that helps quite a lot. For some reason, it's kind of easier to see the shading here. Let's see. Honey, nice. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Anika, the only thing to, right, so this is it. So I think Anika, what you're struggling with is her leg is way too thin on this side, and it's because you've drawn this, but really her hip comes up to here. So can you add this line onto the edge of this? That'll help a lot. And then this leg is a little too close, right? There's a shape here. There's a triangle. Here's a, I don't know, trapezoid.
Leah has sent mine.
I know, I see it. I'm looking at it right now.
Sorry.
6, 7. You're one head too low, honey. Your feet are at head 7. They should be at head 8. So your legs are too short. Your legs are literally one head too short. You have your feet here and they should be down here.
Both
Both
the legs.
Both the legs. 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 8. I can even see your mark. It's kind of down here where they're supposed to end. I can even see it. We didn't get to it. So just erase the feet. Make that be where this is, and then add your feet in on the top. How to feel, you guys?
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, we still got it.
It's really cool to go back to this, you know, it's wonderful and
And
emotional.
is anybody observing how it helps you with the other things? Is anybody observing that? How is it helping
Yes.
you with your other work? Can you put words on it? Is it possible?
It's about patience.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was in such a hurry.
It's true. It's really hard to slow yourself down, isn't it? And be in that process. We resist it. I am the same way, believe me. I am the exact same way. And that's, I think, why I like to draw. I remember my little brother, who has like lived with me his whole life, is like, yeah, you don't like to slow down. I can totally imagine that is the only thing that forces you, that takes your attention long enough to be able to make you slow down.
You know, it's a great feeling of slowing them down, because I mean, after all week, and again it was crazy, I finally have a rest, you know? I
Right,
cannot
and
find the
still
words to describe it.
Right?
I think the thing with painting is because you know, because we've been doing painting, you can kind of get places faster just because.
Yeah, you can do a lot with the material.
Yeah, but maybe it's also kind of busier, you know, because you're not just focusing on the pencil marks, you're focusing on the mixing and
Exactly.
kind of, it's more.
Exactly. All right, one more minute and then I'll pull this off. That's exactly right. It's good to observe this. And this is why I like to work in, this is what figure drawing got me back to liking to work with pencil.
You guys were working in charcoal, not pencil, right?
I was working in no, we're working in pencil. Actually,
Okay.
I did my sketches in charcoal just because I thought they'd be easier to see, but I actually switched to pencil for the sketch itself. We'll go to charcoal eventually, but you know how I like it. We like to do the subtractive method for that. So, and we'll try to get a little bit more into anatomy and things like that. And I'd also, okay, let's see. Ah, there you go, Annika. See how that leg looks better? Looks sort of more filled out on the right side, on our right side. This is great. Good job, you guys. Yay! Ah, Anik, yay! You got her. I mean, the really important thing is that we
Wasn't easy.
right? The really important thing is that there's a value in getting the person, right? I get this person. And imagine how that feels as the person to be seen. It's a pretty profound experience. Moving the ankle down, moving the toes down. I had to adjust my feet.
Anik, yours is amazing.
What's that?
I'm just
Thank
saying,
you.
I think Anik's is really, the light she's caught is amazing.
Yeah. She did it good. She got the figure down and then she was able to like spend her time working on that light, right?
This little thingy helps a lot. It's not a pencil, it's just, you know, like pressed graphite. Which it works like pencil, but makes the darker mark.
I'm going to remove the spotlight and let's see what you're doing there. Excellent. All right, you guys, great work today. I'm so proud of you. So all of you are key, regular attenders, as Diana has pointed out, my favorite students. So, because you're always here. So I want you to think about bringing one person from your community, your workplace. Let's see if we can bring in one person to try one of these So You Think You Can't Draw workshops. I'll make sure all of you, I'll do a better job of getting out the newsletter to everyone next week. It'll have these lists. We have 4 So You Think You Can't Draw workshops scheduled, 2 that are good for Europe, India time, 2 for New York after work time. I think LA, it's still 3:30, but it's a little bit more, I think we have a little bit more flexibility in our work schedules in the West Coast than the East Coast does. We still work a lot, but we have a little bit more flexibility in when we start and stop. Great work here, and let me stop the recording.